Hi there, my name is Jay Richards. I'm CEO at Imagen Insights.
My name's Evelyn Oluwole, and I am a global sales director, currently contracting at WeTransfer.
Hi, I'm Annika Allen. I'm head of diversity, equity and inclusion for All3 Media Group.
My name's Axel Campbell, and I work for esbconnect as a sales development rep.
Any conference I speak at, any panel I'm on, is just being myself every single time. And when I'm speaking out, actually not being afraid of really just bringing those experiences that I've had, but at the same time, not laboring on the point. I think sometimes you can go to certain industry events, you go to events where people just, the entire time, it's like we're all, not self-flagellation, but it's just like everybody's like, oh, it's so hard. And actually I'm going, on the other side of understanding this is what it's like, there actually can be change.
I think for a woman of color, we don't get the opportunity for our voice to be heard in the workforce. And even when you are a senior leader, your voice is still not heard. I think there's a real difference between having a seat on a table and having a voice. I've been in boardrooms as a senior leader and not had a voice. I've sat in the room amongst other counterparts, and I've not had the opportunity to be able to say what I want to say. We need to be working on how we can give each other a voice. And that voice can start right from your lower level, from your entry level, from your intern level, giving people a voice to be able to speak and say their truth and talk about their lived experiences and contribute to, a business decision, a business model. And what I do to ensure that I do have a voice is I do call people out. Obviously, we're in the media industry, we're creating campaigns, we're coming up with ideas, we're working on briefs. If I'm in a room and we're talking and there is a discussion and it's specifically around people of color and the person who is leading that conversation is not a person of color, I will challenge them to get someone who is a person of color, who has the lived experience and has the experience of understanding the cultural differences. I would ask for that person to be in the room.
Especially in this day and age, like everyone has something to say and everyone wants to be heard. So what I try and always do is listen to people first, even if I don't agree with it, and then you sort of let it play out a little bit. So instead of forcing my opinion on him, I'm actually going to ask him his opinion, and then we can have a conversation.
It can't just be one person. One person can't just make a change. It needs to be company-wide, industry-wide, etc. And how are we changing the ecosystem? Myself and another head of DEI partnered to bring all DEI TV leads together again, so we can talk about best practice, talk about what's working in our organizations, the challenges, the successes, etc., how we can help each other, how we can collaborate. And again, having that space kind of enabled my voice to get heard as well as others, because I'm a big believer in not necessarily just being my voice. It's like, how do I empower others to kind of speak up and speak out?
My lasting legacy, oh my gosh. About a year ago, what I realized that even within the Black community, there was a lot of gatekeepers, which is really unfortunate because we're all struggling out here and really we should be supporting one another. I'm one person, but I believe if you want to change the world, start with one, right? And so I decided late last year that I was going to actively make sure that I was not gatekeeping. And I think the word gatekeeping sounds like it's intentional, but I think for some people, it's not that they're gatekeeping, it's just that they make an assumption that other people know about the information they hold. So if someone would come up to me and say, Evelyn, we need someone to do X, Y, and Z, and I knew I couldn't do it, I would actively go out and find somebody who could do it. That would be what I want to be known as. I want to be known as the woman who really kind of pioneered this no gatekeeping to ensure that our younger generation never need to run about looking for something. And that when they talk about knowledge is power, they talk about it in the remit of knowledge is power and is available to all.
I'm going to be 31 this year. And while I've achieved a lot in my life, I could have progressed further in my career if my ego and pride allowed me to when I was a bit younger. So I guess I would tell the younger generation, remember that no one is bigger than a company or organization, no matter how much revenue you generate, no matter how much you're liked. And there's always people as hungry or hungrier than you are. I want people to remember that Axel was the disruptor. He challenged things, he asked questions, but in a polite way, So don't be arrogant about it.
I think I've always lived a life of purpose in terms of wanting to see others realize their potential, have no one left behind, which is why I guess I kind of gravitated to working in diversity, equity and inclusion, because, it's a tough space to work in. Storytelling is a powerful thing. The images that we see influence us, influence opinions, influence our attitudes, etc. So it's important that behind the scenes, there is that diversity. And so for me, I guess my lasting legacy is to ensure that I'm always championing those from historically underrepresented groups to kind of get the opportunities that they deserve. They've trained, they've worked hard for, they've got the experiences. I guess my lasting legacy, I want people to say that she supported us, she kind of, she sent that ladder back down and I guess never stopped.
I think from a lasting legacy perspective, for me personally, it's just making sure that I build something that consistently adds value. Once I've left this business and moved on to whatever I do next, I want the business to continue to add value for decades to come. So I think my lasting legacy will be a Black man that built something that is consistently adding value to some of the world's biggest brands, and people can point to that and go, actually, that was started by a Black man from East London. And I think that for me is something that I'm really excited about. And then for the next generation, I just think it's just making sure that we're not doing lip service and it's just giving capital. For me personally, I've invested in Black businesses. I have been doing it for years. And if somebody comes to me and pitches an idea, I just give them capital. More sessions and more discussions and more videos and more talks, it's not going to make the difference as much as capital will. So if we can put capital behind these people and actually empower them, then that's the thing that's going to make the difference over time.